Hey friends, thanks for watching. I hope you like this test we're about to do. As always, I gotta say thanks to our friends over at Eastern Outfitters up in the archery shop. Ryan, always very helpful, making recommendations for things to test, providing them to me and giving me feedback on his opinions. Ryan always grants me the latitude to be as unbiased and truthful about a product as possible. For me to bring it to you is what you're seeing is what I think honestly, and I'm very thankful that Ryan gives me that ability, even though he's donating things that he sells in the shop. It's my complete unbiased opinion of what these products are. So I hope you like this review, and if you're in the market, you need some new broadheads because season's coming up, you need some arrows, you need a new bow, you need a tune, you need a string, whatever you need to go see the guys over at Eastern Outfitters right away. Get ready for the season. They're always good. They're always take the time to help you out, get you set up, and always buy locally. Go to your local shops, help support your mom and pop. Don't buy from people like Celinda or Amazon or whatnot. Support your local shops because those are the people you're going to need. If you have to go online, make sure you use an American vendor or somebody that the money's going into American pockets, because companies like Celinda rip it all. They rip off our archers, they rip off our engineers, they rip off all of our people that are involved in the archery industry with no repercussions for their actions. So make sure you're buying locally, you're buying American, and God bless you all. All right, so here's the test medium. This is 5V29 roofing tin, and it is put on screwed to a 3/4 inch flooring board, and that's going to be our test medium. We're going to measure to see how well they open and penetrate through the tin, and then how far they penetrate through the wood. It's not the scientific method type of test that John Lusk is doing, but it should give us a good idea how tough a broadhead is and if it'll actually function the way it's supposed to when encountered with a hard object. So stay tuned. All right, before we get started, we're going to be testing this out of this Elite Omnia that's behind me, 70 pounds, it's 28 inches. And we're going to be using these are Black Eagle X impacts. These are 250 spines, and they're going to come in around 430 grain. So now that we know what we're testing with, we're going to go ahead and go through some of the broadheads. So this is the Sevr Titanium 2.0. It is a really good broadhead that I have used in the past. It has a design where the blades lock in place and then pivot on their center fastener. I think the only real weakness in this design is the hollowed out ferrule, and it's pretty much a reoccurring theme with all of these rear deploy 2-inch broadheads. So that's the first one. That is the Sevr 2.0. All right, so let's check these out first. So this is where the Sevr went into. Let's see if we can get a measurement on this, and it is about it may be just shy of 2 inches, maybe like 1 5/8 on the opening. Note, it was one of the 3 best penetrators in this group. So this is the second test it's been through. Looks like I may have broke the blades. But this is the second test this Sevr has went through. You can see the hacksaw marks from where I got it out, or the saw marks where I got it out of the wood the first time. The tip looks pretty good. The blades are pretty messed up, but the blades aren't bent. I seen a video with a guy in out of Michigan that said he bent Sevr blades shooting through a gallon, a water jug, and I have to call BS on that, because look at those blades after going through tin and through this flooring board. They did pretty well. So, and the Sevr penetrated just shy of 26 inches. So, all right, so final thoughts and review on each of these broadheads. So here's the Sevr. Like I said before, this isn't the first test it's been through. It's probably the 3rd time it's been shot through this particular medium, and you can see it's still in pretty good shape. The marks you see on it from a hacksaw used before. I want to, one of the strengths of this broadhead, you can see that second hole there. When you close this head, you can put a set screw in there, and it'll lock both both blades in so you can in place, so they will be recessed into the ferrule like that, and you'll be able to use the exact heads you're going to practice, you're going to hunt with for practice. So I think that's very advantageous. Again, like the rest of these, I think that is a huge, the hollowed out ferrule is a weakness in their design, and the large winglets kind of cover up the front side of these blades. I think that's another weakness. But overall, fantastic head. You know, probably tied for the best penetration in this video, but you know, overall penetration, I think the number was longer, but I think it's a longer head than the Assailant, so that's where the extra distance came from. So I'm just gonna, you know, have on this 1A and 1B, so the Sevr and the Slick Trick Assailant, you know, on the same platform as far as this test goes. Stainless steel ferrule. I like the ferrule design. However, I do not like the fact that they got away from their winglet over the top design, which I thought was pretty was a strength. And if you're going to use the over the top design, which I do not care for, because I think it bleeds extra kinetic energy away and trying to force those blades open. So I don't like that they went away from that. I do like that it has a solid ferrule design, and it's only 1.5 inches, and it's stainless steel. So I like those as positives. Again, the only negative is I think they changed from the winglet design on their blades. All right, so the second arrow we're going to shoot is going to be the Schwacker 1.5. All right, so next up is the Sevr 1.5. And as you can see, the entry, you can't really see the entry hole for blade deployment. Although it looks like it's did some pretty significant damage on the backside. And there's your blades. Obviously, the blades are no longer sharp, but the head looks like it's in pretty good shape. We'll take this thing in and do some spin tests. But there you go. That's your Schwacker 1.5. Pretty good shape. Third place was the Sevr 1.5, and it should have been, you know, because it's got the smallest cutting diameter, but it is a tough ferrule. It's stainless steel, one piece, and then you got the two mechanical blades. These are complete over the top, which I think the weakness of this is, that is the weakness. I would prefer it to have had the winglets like the old Sevrs. But I think it's a really good broadhead. It held up really well to the test. All right, next up is the B3. This is the RD2, and it is a rear deploy 2. I like this solid ferrule design. It is a stainless steel. The only weakness in this is the way the blades are retained. So you can see at the top of this tip, the blades slide up and engage there. And the tension is somewhat kept on them by the fastener, which I think is a weakness in the design. Because if it's too weak, these things can easily just pop out. And pop out during flight maybe, and if it's too tight, it would require quite a bit of force for them to pop open. Arrow number 3 will be the RD2 by B3. All right, next up is the B3 RD2, which I was really looking forward to. So this is B3 RD2 here. That interesting looking cut there, and it's about the same distance, maybe like 1 5/8 as the Sevr. There's your one blade. The other blade seems to be disconfigured there. There we go. So it did bend the blades up on these a little bit, but it penetrated pretty well. We'll have to spin it later to make sure the ferrule is still straight. All right, so this is the B3 RD2, which is a rear deployer, and it is, as you can see from the test, the blades are pretty bent up. I don't know how that impacts the fasteners that hold it into the ferrule, but some positives about it. I like the stainless steel solid ferrule. I think it's a good design. I like that aspect of it. I think the weaknesses, though, are these fastener retainers. So the way it works is you have to be able to push this. Maybe I can get one that works, but you would push it in, and then this piece right here would put enough side load pressure on it to keep it locked in place. But it would be dependent upon this fastener, and that would be you know, if they put some, you know, like a torque value in the instructions for this, it might be a little bit more helpful for keeping you from over or under tightening it and having a blade loosen and deploy during flight, or being too tight and not deploying when you hit the target. But I think this could be a really good broadhead with a little bit of tweaking and maybe a little bit thicker blades and a little bit of tweaking in that fastener design from B3. We have another entry from Slick Trick, and this is the Raptor X, or Raptor Trick, I'm sorry. Stainless steel ferrule, which I like. However, it is hollowed out. On a side note, this is when I went to the bow shop up there at Eastern, this is one of the ones that Ryan told me he wanted me to test. He shot a doe and a small buck with it. One shot, clean pass through on the doe and spined the young buck. So he's like, I want to see what this actually does in your test. Arrow number 4 will be the Raptor Trick by Slick Trick. All right, so this is the Raptor Trick by Slick Trick, and you can see these over the tops with the winglets on the blades. This is pretty typical of those. You get about an inch opening, and then when you come to the back, or you come around to the front of the arrow rather, this is what you get. So that's your Raptor Trick. The ferrule looks like it's in really good shape. The blades look pretty good too. So. Next up is the Slick Trick Raptor Trick, and it did really well on the test. You can see the head is in immaculate shape. The blades look pretty good as well. I didn't get a measurement on those blades, but it only looked like it wrinkled up on the edges. I think it actually penetrated through the wood before it completely opened. But as you can tell, because those blades still look kind of sharp. But I think this would be another excellent head if you were shooting whitetail or black bear here in North Carolina. The only weakness I see is that hollowed out ferrule. Even though it's over the top, it is the type that has the winglet design. So your broadhead is deep in the animal before it opens up. So I like that. Solid broadhead. Yet another entry from Slick Trick. This is another one with the hollowed out ferrule. It's a hybrid design. So you got your 2 main blades, 2 bleeder blades. All right, so our next arrow, our next broadhead is going to be the Assailant by Slick Trick. And this is a hybrid 2-blade. All right, so this is the Assailant by Slick Trick. So get a good look at that. I sank it down in there, and that actually looks like it was probably the most penetration. So there's your blades. Probably the advantage of that, it's 1 5/8", I think is what it said. Not quite a 2-inch opening, but it's a nice nice little hole it punched through the tin, and everything looks like it's in pretty good shape. I mean, you can replace those blades. The ferrule looks pretty good. Good looking broadhead. So this is the Slick Trick Assailant, and you know, I thought this thing would do worse than it did, but those with the bleeder blades, I thought it would be more restrictive than some of the 2 blades, but it was on par with the Sevr, which is typically my favorite, and the ferrule seems to be pretty good. Again, the only thing that I don't care for is that hollowed out ferrule. I don't really care for the over the top blades. I think that's a weaker design than the rear deployers. But as you can tell, the Sevr is a rear deployer, and the Assailant did it right there with it. So if you're going to take an over the top purchase an over the top broadhead, I suggest you do one with these winglets that allow the broadhead to penetrate in before it opens up. This is the Rocky Mountain Warhead, I think is what this is called, and if it looks familiar, it really looks like a Schwacker. Again, hollowed out ferrule. It's aluminum, does have the cutter tip on it, and it has the winglets on the blade, which if you're going to use an over the top, that's what I would go with. I've had good luck with the Schwackers. If you see some of our other videos, I have a Pope & Young 8-point on the wall, and I have a 10-point next to him. And both of those were taken with a Schwacker 125. So that design, it does work. and it's very effective. But that is again, I think the weakness of this is again, it's over the top blade deployment, and it's a hollowed out ferrule. Man, I forgot the name of this one. We'll have to come back to this one. This is the next one. Oh, Rocky Mountain Warhead. The next is the Rocky Mountain Warhead. And this is going to be the Rocky Mountain Warzone, or Warhead rather. And it's again the winglet design on the over-the-top blades. You get about an inch opening at the front, at the impact area. Come around, and this is the second time I've seen this happen. The winglets broke off on the blades, so it looks like you got a deployment of the blades. Looking at how wide that popped open, but there you go. It did tear those off the blade, just to note. But the ferrule looks like it's in pretty good shape. So this is the Rocky Mountain Warzone. Final thoughts on that. You see the two winglets did break off, but the blades stayed in really good shape. They didn't bend up or get messed up. The head looks pretty good itself. So you could probably just replace the blades and keep going. Again, like with these other ones, it's an over-the-top design. I don't care for that. Hollowed out blades. I mean, a hollowed out ferrule, which I think makes it a little bit weaker, but given the penetration in this test, I think it's pretty solid. You know, and I've shot the swackers on two really nice deer, and they performed really well. So again, it's a solid broadhead, and I don't think you could, if you're shooting here in the southeast, shooting, you know, black bears or whitetails here in the southeast, you're gonna have a problem with these heads. Next is the Slick Trick torch, and this is another rear deployer. The only difference between this and the Sevr and some of the other ones is it's spring loaded, and you can move the retaining piece back out of the way and secure the blades. These do not pivot. They will come forward so that they do not fit. They do not act as a barb. I would say, again, you know, the ferrule is hollowed out to make room for the mechanisms and the blades, so that would be a weakness in the structural design. The Slick Trick torch is next. All right, so next is the Slick Trick torch, which I was actually surprised by. I did not anticipate it doing this well. So look at the opening there, and we'll try to get a measurement, because it looks like it almost went in to two. Yes, and it's right at 2 inches. Your opening's right at 2 inches. So come around, look at the broadhead itself, and man, that thing did great. So there we go. Blades, you know, the blades are rippled, which you would expect is shoot it through 10. Tip doesn't look bad. I mean, that broadhead looks like you could use it again if you put different blades on it. So the next broadhead was the Slick Trick torch, and as you can see, I pulled it out of the target medium, and I have refolded, got it back into its folded back position. The mechanism worked fine. The broadhead looks good. You know, it's the same thing with the other broadheads. It's just a repetitive thing. It's the hollowed out center is what I don't like in these things, and it's even more hollowed out because you've got to have access to your mechanism to lock it in place. But it is a rear deployer, which I do like, and it did 4th best on this test. It did really well. So solid broadhead. And last but least, we have the Beast broadhead, and it's got a lot of notoriety. 2 and 3 inch cut, 2.3 inch cut, which would be the largest of our test group. It is a 775 aluminum ferrule. Again, you can see it's hollowed out to allow for the mechanisms and large blades. It does have a nice stainless steel tip on it. And the last broadhead will be the Beast. So next is the second of the spring-loaded broadheads that we're testing, and that's going to be the Beast. And there you go, there's your opening. So keep in mind, this is a 2.3 inch cut broadhead, and at the opening, it's maybe 1.5 inches. And I'm going to have to assume that the mechanism that holds them in place has broke. I don't know. It may have just forced them back into closed position, so. But all in all, the head doesn't look bad. It's still springing back into place. You may be able to just replace the blades on that and get it back in shape, in fighting shape. But... all right, so let's go through and measure the penetration. So the least penetrating broadhead that we tested today, you know, in fairness to the broadhead, it is the Beast, but in fairness to the broadhead, it is also the largest cutting diameter that we tested. Credit to the design, you know, even though I'm shooting it through 10 and through 3/4 inch flooring board, you know, the retaining system still works, and you can. So it will still deploy. It's a little bit rougher than it was before. The blade tip held up. I mean, the broadhead tip held up well, and everything seems to be still straight. Again, this is another one that has a hollowed out center. The advantage over this one over the Torch is, you know, it comes with little cute finger booties that you can put these. You can just squeeze these in, and it locks in place. So you can use those. Like I said, they came with little finger booties that you can use in the package to keep them closed, and it does come with a practice tip. The downside of that, the hollowed out ferrule, the aluminum ferrule. The ferrule's made out of aluminum, and it's only a 2-pack for like I think it's 72 bucks, 70 bucks for a 2-pack and a practice head. So where you could get multiples, you know, I think most of these come in 3-packs, and you could probably get about 6 of them for what you would pay for 2 of these. So, you know, not a bad for a first gen design. I think they did pretty good with it. As much as I don't care for the proprietor of this company, I think he did a pretty good job on the broadhead, even though it didn't perform very well in this test. I think on a normal, just whitetail shot, it would, you know, be pretty good. All right, boys and girls, as long as we can get battery life, we're gonna shoot these things. So we got the Sevr 2.0 coming up first. Slick Trick Torch. Slick Trick Assailant. QAD Exodus. B3 Destruct. Black Flag Hemorrhage. Grim Reaper Hades Pro. G5 Montec. And last but not least, the Beast. For some reason I feel like I should be wearing safety goggles. Let's go check them out. All right, so I reshot this. This was the second take on shooting through the microwave, and because I had a GoPro set up on the microwave for a good view, so you can see a lot of holes, and most of them all left a really nice hole. But that is a Hades Pro, and it is stuck in the target because that is where the motor for the rotating table went. That is the Beast, which I'd say, I think it performed pretty well. That's 3 shots, 2 through this medium, through the microwave. That is the B3 Destruct, which was a complete pass-through the first time. That's the motor that the Hades Pro knocked off. That's the cover plate that covers that motor. Missing in action is the QAD Exodus. Come down here, I've rotated this previously, so that's why it's standing up, but that is your Black Flag Hemorrhage and the G5 Montec. So like I said, the QAD Exodus is somewhere down there. But in my Crocs, I'm not going to go find it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little demonstration through the microwave of how these broadheads perform. As always, you can find these broadheads minus the beast and the black flag hemorrhage. If you're interested in black flag hemorrhage, you can go to their website, Black Flag Archery. If you're interested in the beast, you have to do a Google search for those. But all the rest of the broadheads you saw in this video, you can purchase at, minus the Sevr, you can purchase at Eastern Outfitters. Go see Ryan up at Eastern Outfitters. He'll point you in the right direction. He'll take care of you. Hey guys, I can't reiterate this enough, but if you're in Eastern North Carolina, go check out Eastern Outfitters Archery Shop. Go see Ryan, tell him I sent you. All of these broadheads, with the exception of the beast and Sevr, you can purchase upstairs in their archery shop. Ryan, super helpful, always willing to take the time to talk to you and advise you based on your setup and what your target species is going to be. So again, always thanks to those guys for helping me out and supplying me with the components I need to conduct these tests and allowing me to be unbiased and give my true opinion. Anyway, thanks for watching. God bless, shoot straight. Good luck this season. And remember, buy local, buy American.